My name is Angela O'Neill, and welcome to Stories in Progress, a place where faith, creativity, and storytelling intersect. Hey everybody, it is your host, Angela O'Neill. Welcome to the Stories in Progress podcast. I am so glad you're here. I don't have a cup of coffee with me. I'm okay. Sometimes that's the next question. Is she okay? She doesn't have coffee with her. Today we're going to look back on a spoken word that I was able to do several years back at an arts ministry event at Mariners Church. And it was a joy to write. Now, when I write spoken words, it is really deep time for me and God. I love the writing and the wrestling in the writing and the wonder at who God, wonder in a good way, like awe and wonder at who God is and what he reveals during a time of writing spoken word. It is one of my favorite ways that I feel like God and I partner. That's always my hope, is that it's not that my words would go away and that I would be a partner with God. And so I love writing spoken words. Specifically, it just is the writing, like I said, and the memorizing, the writing and the memorizing, because memorizing spoken word is really, really exact and precise, and there's not room, like you can't fill in other words in there. You got to do it exactly. And so it's deep time of rehearsal that I get to spend with God too. There's a little behind the curtain. And so I'm going to play for you that spoken word. And I hope that this will be encouragement to you, reminder to you that you're loved, that you are created in the image of the Creator, that you were created, I'm going to put me in there, that we were created with purpose, on purpose, for a purpose, by the Creator. We are his masterpiece. And if you are an artist, you know the detail it takes to create a masterpiece and get that masterpiece exactly right for the story you're telling. If you are not an artist, but maybe you observe art, you can observe it in awe and wonder and go, wow, the creator of this piece. Look at the detail, look at the intricacies, look at the story being told, and be reminded that you are a masterpiece as well. And so, I don't know, I feel like this was brought up for me, for my heart, for my soul. And so I hope it can be used for your heart, for your soul, whether you are in a place where everything feels great, whether you are an artist or a mom or a dad or a kid or a businessman or a teacher, fill in the blank, a preacher. I hope this is just used to remind you of who you are. Listen, we live in a world where the question, am I enough, comes up all the time. Am I enough for that school? Am I enough for that job? Am I enough for that role I'm auditioning for? Am I enough? And there's the strive to reach and be, and that's what this deals with, is that question of, am I enough? And too many times we can, whether through rejection, whether through heartache, whether through a time of waiting, we can sometimes think, I am not enough. And that is just kind of what can happen in life. And so I want us to hopefully rephrase that. The world and our journey in life is going to have varying ups and downs. That's just the way life is. Our journey is not linear, straight, and just easy peasy the whole time. There's ups where we feel really great. There's downs where we feel really down. I'll give you an example. In writing my book, Unspoken Word, One Moment with Jesus Changes Everything, was one of the most rewarding times of my faith journey as a whole. And one of the tricky parts is I feel like I figured out how to be the writer, but then I had to figure out how to be the promoter, and I had to figure out how to be the marketer, and that just feels really unnatural, if I'm being totally honest. I do it because it's the only way people are going to know about it, but it feels really unnatural. And one day, here's a peek behind the curtain. I hope I'm not going to cry, but I could. One day, I was sitting with someone who, like, I felt like this was a key to the next step. Let's get it in a bookstore, which would be so exciting. And within that, right away, was a list of wrongs and a list of nots. You are not a pastor's wife. You are not this. You are not that. Basically shattering this step of obedience that I felt super called to. I still feel called to it. I left that meeting. I composed, which was my first feeling of success in that was I left without crying. I left pondering. I left questioning. I left with those words often, not this, not this, not this. I went home. I looked at John. I cried. And he gently reminded me of who I am. He gently held me as much as his heart wanted to simply protect me, and everything in him wanted to go and fight the battle, but he held me, which is what I needed. Not enough can be the words. And listen, I am not a pastor's wife. I am not a seasoned writer in that I've written a whole bunch of best-selling books. I am not a woman's director at a church. I'm not. And I had to step away from that moment and go, but you know what? I am being obedient. I am writing the story I felt called, I did write the story I felt called to write. I am going to continue sharing that story, no matter how much those words can get in my head. And so I'm going to share this with you. This is a different feel for this podcast. And that was a story from a while ago, but I think it is really easy for us to want to see the way things are done and see how people do it, or strive and think there's only, you've got to do this, this, and this for this, this, and this. You've got to have this voice to do that thing. You've got to be like this to do that. You have to sound like this. You have to write like this. Whatever it may be. And I hope that you can walk away knowing and being encouraged that God called a fisherman. God called, and that probably would have been the last person. God called a zealot to be part of his crew. And then you look at like a Paul in the Bible and go, Paul, who was persecuting Christians, look at the transformation that happened when he stepped into the call, right? Look at how his writings have affected our faith and our walk. And he called a shepherd boy to be king and to slay a giant. He called, look at what happened through the faith and obedience of 4 Jewish boys in a foreign land who conquered a lion's den with God by their side, who walked through a furnace. The story of Ruth, a foreigner that would go on to be in the lineage of Jesus. So she was foreign to that land, and then look at what happened in her obedience. Gosh, I could keep going. But I want and hope for you to be encouraged. Whatever place you're in right now, we're going to listen to this spoken word. I hope you're still with me on the story, and that you will listen to the story of Am I Enough? So here we go.
Enough. Am I enough? A question in the sand, written by my own hands. 3 words that command attention, create a definition, a narration, a contradiction of both praise and rejection, leading to only more and more questions. Should I stop what I'm doing, change how it's done? Is this what I'm called to do? If so, why is it so hard to do? Will it change the world? Or will I just disappoint you? And with each question, doubt creeps in, hesitation, as the question becomes a declaration. I am not enough. That 3rd word, it changes the phrase. With bold letters begins to define the day. Not a negative that changes the positive, a paradigm shift that sifts out the truth from the narrative. But what is enough? Is it found in the eye of the beholder? And if it is, does it change with each perspective through their eyes? It can only be selective, never objective. And if enough is ever changing, what can worth be found in? Or is it an endless cycle, a merry-go-round in motion? So maybe I'll just accept the words and give in. Change. Conform. Be. When all I see is inadequacy. And in this cycle, many beginnings and no end, where this combination of both praise and rejection creates a strive for perfection, creating pure exhaustion. Is the standard of perfection an image, or is it just an illusion? Then I'm reminded of a story. One that changed the melody, the trajectory. A moment in the sand that changed the theme. From death to life set the captive free. As he drew in the sand, was it words? Was it art? Whatever it was, it created a new start. As stones began to fall, the scene began to calm. That moment in the sand, it changed it all. What was it he wrote in the sand that day? But then I'm reminded of more words as I see the sand slipping away. Words of your thoughts for me. They are greater than, more than I can comprehend, greater than the grains of sand, not just the uncountable amount in my hand. No, your thoughts for me are greater than all the grains of sand. It's incredible, indescribable. If that's the truth, your love is unconditional. So perhaps a shift, a focus, a change. Instead of focusing on my work, what I can do, instead of focusing on the shame, what if I stopped and focused on you? What if I focused on just a few of your names? You are the great I am. Elohim, God, the Creator, Jehovah Jireh, provider, Emmanuel, God with us, God with me. El Roy, you are the God who sees. You are the Creator. You created everyone. You created everything. Yes, you even created me, not on a whim. No, you created with pure, detailed intention. And that first man you created and said was in your image. We are in your image. So as I create, whether in word or in song, in a short time or long, in front or alone, or a moment unplanned, may I always be thinking of the Creator's hand. I am created by the Creator. The master artist has called me his masterpiece. I am the apple of your eye. I am your crowning glory. In this may I find peace. In this may I live my story. Emmanuel, you are here in the night and the light. Jehovah Jireh, you are the God who provides. You provide for our needs. El Roy, you are the God who sees. You see me. You see me. You see the joy. You see the pain. You see the shame. And you know my name. So if the question is, am I enough? The answer is, I have been bought by your blood. And in a world where the love is words like because, words of if, my God, he loves me, period. No additions to the phrase, this is the truth to live by for all of my days. So does he need my art? The answer is no. He does not need me. No, he wants me. He invites me. What grace, what mercy, the glory of glories invites me into the story. So in a world that challenges my worth by my work, let us remember the truth of these words. My work does not define my value, my worth. My worth is found in his one life-changing work. 2,000 years ago, on a cross, with little life left, he breathed, "It is finished." He conquered sin and death. So, if we question our worth, remember the price it cost 2,000 years ago on a cross as Jesus Christ died and shed his blood for us. We are his works of art. So today, let's live from the truth. The Creator, God, he didn't just create you, he loves you too. It's not about performance, it's about his promise, and that promise came, lived, died, rose again. It's about Jesus. So today I choose to live from that story. Today I choose to give you all the glory. I am redeemed. I am loved. I am a daughter of the King. I am who I am because the great I am created me.
So I'm going to give you an answer, and it might seem like I'm going back on everything that you just saw, but bear with me. The question we've been talking about is, am I enough? And I want to kind of give it two parts. Am I enough? The simple answer is no. That's not what you're expecting to hear, but stick with me. The playing field is level. There is one road to salvation. There is one road to redemption. There is one way to heaven, and that is through Jesus Christ. We cannot work our way, no matter how hard we try, to be good enough to then say, I've done it and I've fulfilled the things. The one way. Jesus, he is the way, he is the truth, he is the life. Like I said, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. That's not some have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. We have all sinned. And so no, we are not enough to pay our road to pave the way for our own salvation. That comes with Jesus. That comes through him, which then goes to the next side of the question, which maybe is posed differently of, well then, am I valuable enough for him to want me? Am I valuable enough for him to use me? Which the good news is, you are. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And then John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. You are loved. And Jesus' act on the cross was the greatest sacrifice ever, is the greatest act of love ever. And he loves everyone and wants everyone to come to him so much that he paid the ransom for us. That is good news. And so let's reflect on that spoken word used to hopefully stir questions, to bring truth in a creative way, to allow space for conversation, which we're having right now. There's a through line of sand within there to kind of bring a visual to the words being spoken. And within there, there's two moments of scripture that point towards one, what we talked about just a minute ago. Jesus is the only way of salvation. It's not about what we do, it's about what he does. And then the other one of how much he loves us. And so that first story is this woman caught in adultery where the world wanted to condemn her. Listen, the truth is there was sin involved. And Jesus doesn't shy away from that. In fact, he tackles it head on. He doesn't say, oh no, go keep doing that, it's fine. No, he tackles it head on. By the end, we see the story where she's brought in the most vulnerable way in front of a crowd, and they are asking for her life. And Jesus starts writing in sand, which I just want to... Everything in me wants to know what he was writing in the sand. But we don't know. There's so many thoughts of what it could be, but we don't know. But here's the gospel message there. He says to the crowd, he who's without sin, casts the first stone at her. The incredible part is, in this moment, there is a sinless man there. And that is Jesus himself. He doesn't cast a stone at her. He offers something. He offers a call to action, and that call to action is go, and the crowd leaves. He says, go and sin no more. So that's where he doesn't say, continue, whatever. He says, go and sin no more, recognizing the sin. And there's a call for her there. And when the world was asking for her life, Jesus would eventually give his life for her and for those people who condemned him, for the people condemning her. But the choice is, will you accept this gift that he has given? That's the choice for all of us to make. Will we accept this gift that he has given? That all have sinned, like I said, and fall short of the glory of God. But that God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever believes will not perish but have everlasting life. What can take away our sin? It is not a climb to the top. It is not hoping that in the end we have done enough good to outweigh the bad. What can wash away my sin? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. That's the simple gospel again. It is Jesus. He is our redemption and salvation. And so there's that part of the story. And then the next part of sand goes into one of my favorite chapters, Psalm 139. Are you questioning, am I worthy? Am I loved? Are you wondering, can I come to Jesus? Come just as you are. Listen, that lady, she came in the most vulnerable state. She came just as she was. Now, she was kind of forced there, but he didn't tell her to go clean up. He just gave her the call, right? Am I loved? Am I valuable? In Psalm 139, there is a part that says, his thoughts for you are greater than the grains of sand. Now think about that for a second. And gosh, I encourage you, go into nature, pick up some sand and try to count the sand. You won't be able to do it because there are too many little tiny grains of sand. You can't count that. That would be, gosh, enough love right there. But greater than the grains of sand. So now think of all the grains of sand on all the earth. The grains that you can see at your favorite beach. Then multiply all the beaches, the ones you've never been to. The grains of sand that are in the ocean, the parts of the ocean that we've never seen before. Great, add those to the equation. Greater than the grains of sand. Think of a desert that is so full of sand that you cannot see anything but sand. For as far as the eye can see, all you see is sand, and it goes down deep. Add that to the equation. Greater than the grains of sand. That is his thoughts for you. That's his thoughts for me. So when you question, does he love me? Am I part of that? Am I worthy? Think of his thoughts for you alone and how they are infinite. So when the world is trying to say, look like this, may your voice sound like this cookie cutter thing, write your book in this cookie cutter way, be this cookie cutter idea, and then you'll be enough. Know that your worth is not found in your work. Your worth is found in the one work of Jesus, in his love for you. And so he doesn't, and it doesn't just stop there. So yes, we can come to know Jesus. And if you don't know Jesus and you have a friend who knows Jesus, go talk with them. They want you to come be part of the family. Find a church that believes in the Bible. DM and I will try to help you with that. But knowing Jesus is the greatest choice we can make. You are loved. So there's a little tangent there, but know that you are loved, that he loves you. And when the world tries to, when we feel rejected and we feel like we're supposed to conform to a simple cookie cutter, gosh, I have felt this in my life. I have felt this recently in my life. Know that God made you on purpose for a purpose. You were fearfully and wonderfully made and knit together in your mother's womb. You matter. And so I just hope that you know that you are a masterpiece created by the Creator, and that you leave today encouraged, knowing that you are loved, because He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves. Yes, He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves. Have a great day.